Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do a video basically just explaining my background, how I got here, and a bit about my story from, I guess you would say, like Christianity to astrology to Hinduism, now to Bhakti and devotion to Krishna, and how it all happened, how it all occurred. I don't know if I'll get into whys. People can form their own whys and opinions, but I'll just explain like what happened. So anyway, growing up, I was basically like every other African American person in America, right? I practiced Christianity. I was raised in a Christian household. I went to church. I went to Bible study. I went to a lot of these things. I became very versed in the Bible and understanding of Christianity. But I had questions. And I still have questions to this day. I ask God a lot of questions. But you know what I mean? I am a tenacious inquirer. The depths that I am willing to go to understand and know the truth, I don't actually know how far I'll go. It depends. Like I'll go pretty far. I really will. And so because I know that about myself, Christianity doesn't yield itself to that. Christianity, just in my own opinion, if you read the Bible and stuff like that, the verses themselves can be cryptic. And I understand like maybe they're trying to apply it to everyone else or they can try to be poetic, but in my opinion, they were cryptic and sometimes difficult to understand. Whereas when I came across, well, I'll save that later. The philosophy of the Vedas, I'll save that for later. So let's move forward. From Christianity and stuff like that, I was also into astrology. Naturally, I just loved astrology. And astrology, if I'm not mistaken, the Pope himself recently just like persecuted astrology. And that for me, as a younger person, I didn't really like. And then as I got older, I felt like it was hypocrisy because they use stars to find Jesus. And just all other types of things like the creation of the calendar and things like that. Those were involved with the Catholic Church and things like that, if I'm not mistaken. So don't quote me on all this history, but either way, it seems like to persecute something that you once utilized is hypocritical, and I don't like that. If you want to have a certain stance on it, fine, but you need to explain that stance. You can't just, put out a witch hunt on it. You know what I mean? I think that's BS. I don't like that. So that was a problem for me as well, obviously. And as you can see, I'm tenacious. One of my favorite terms is make it make sense. I don't give a fuck really about how anybody feels about it. Make it make sense. If I can logically start thinking about it and inferring on the knowledge, and if I can put two ideas together and smash them, and it doesn't add up, then it must not be true. It can't be complete, right? Or at least that's the way I think. This is just my mindset. Some people like it, some people probably won't. And so then moving on from there, getting into astrology, at this point I would say I dabbled around in different astrologers and teachers and things like that. But finally I came across Victor Kara. And you can find Victor Kara's astrology on YouTube. He is amazing. I can't express enough how much he has seeded knowledge into my life and seeded knowledge into everyone's life. I mean, his YouTube channel is public. Anybody can find it. But I think because we're similar people, Capricorn ascendants. I'm a Capricorn ascendant. He's a Capricorn ascendant. So I feel like he meets me where I am and expresses knowledge to me in a way that I can really understand it, and I really, really like that. And it took my spiritual life from, to be honest, non-existent, because I don't feel like religion is in any way true spirituality, or if it in any way, that's not true. Okay. What I would say is, I think religion gives you good guardrails to approach true spirituality. But I think there is a difference. And then I think all true spirituality is rooted in Hinduism. It becomes defined and clearly understood in the Vedas, in the Bhagavad Gita, in Brahma Sutras. But I'm going on a tangent. So anyway, enter Victor Kara. I start taking in a lot of his astrology video information. And he happens to be a classical astrologer, so he uses, and I am a classical astrologer as well. So what a classical astrologer does is we use only the 7 main grahas, or the 7 planets that are visible in the sky, meaning I can go outside and know east from west, north from south, and it takes me, I have to really look at the moon a lot of the time, but if I know the moon is in a particular place, which is next to a planet, I 9 times out of 10 can look up and then confirm on like a Stargazer app or something like that I'm looking at either, Venus, Jupiter, or Saturn. And yeah, I'll get into that with you guys later, because viewing the stars in the sky can become complicated depending on where they are and different things like that. Those are other videos. But anyway, so I began taking in a lot of astrological information and learning a lot about planets, signs, houses, all this stuff. And I kind of knew a lot, well, not a lot, but I knew a decent amount already. It wasn't like I was coming from nowhere. I was already interested in astrology. So when I came across Vic's channel, it just kind of made that knowledge complete. You know what I mean? It put the things where they were supposed to be. It made the things make sense. Like I said, my favorite term, make it make sense. So it made it make sense. So then with that, I then really got interested in the other aspect of classical astrology, which is the nakshatras. And the nakshatras are amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I think we try and get as much information about the nakshatras as we can, like all the time, but I don't know if we could do it. They're literally outside of our realm, right? But the information that we do have about the nakshatras is amazing. Vic has amazing books on nakshatras as well, and I own them. I've read them. I've actually read a good portion of the books Vic has published. So actually, if you're in any way concerned about what I might say to you, understand that either it's something that I probably learned from Vic, and if I don't know the answer, I'm probably going to ask him myself for the answer for you if you were to ask me something. But yeah, so the nakshatras and then the gods. So with the nakshatras, you get interested in the gods, and with interest in the gods and just Hinduism in general, you kind of are like at this beach, and there's this ocean in front of you, and you're like, man, that looks really nice. And there are already people playing in it, and they seem like they really like it over there too, and it's interesting. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I slowly began just, stepping into this ocean, right? Just slowly began stepping into this ocean. And an interesting thing sort of happened as I began stepping into this ocean. It felt right. It felt so right. And it felt so right to the point where like I began to just, like a sponge. I think it's been about 3 or 4 years that I've been really solid with my path. And I feel like I try and take in just as much information as I possibly can all the time. And I don't intend on knowing everything, and I think I'm not super knowledgeable. I know there are people that are far more knowledgeable than I am, but still I have in my heart, this is just what I love, is what I want to do, is where my interest is. So I continue with that, and with that genuine interest, of course, Krishna comes. You know what I mean? It wasn't, it was so natural. It was like I learned about the nakshatras, the gods, that led me to Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, Srimad Bhagavatam first, believe it or not, and then the Gita. I was really interested in Srimad Bhagavatam before I was interested in the Gita. I then purchased the simple Gita that Vic wrote, of course, and now I'm obsessed with the Gita. I read the Gita every day, but at first it was Srimad Bhagavatam, and it still is. I've read all the cantos that Vic has published of Srimad Bhagavatam so far, but still, but you can see the excitement in that. This is really what I enjoy, and so I could probably end the video right there, but I guess I won't. And so with that then comes what I would say is not even, you can't discuss it necessarily because it doesn't really have words. But it's relationship. The easiest way to say it is relationship. And I would say it's relationship with God. If you know what I mean? Like, we're just going to be flat. It's just relationship with God, relationship with the divine. And I think that's really important. And I think even as a man, that's our actual backbone. Because if you think about it, in a room full of men, the person that's going to be the most fearless is the person that's the closest to God. Because what happens to them, they don't care at all. You know what I mean? And from that place, as a man, with that fearlessness of, I have connection to God, I don't need to fear anything, you can then go forth and do everything. And then you can also do anything, and it doesn't mean you should do anything. I think discipline is important as well. But that relationship is important, and it's so worth pursuing. I don't know if I can express it. I can't really give it to you. I wish I could take it out of my chest and tell you, just if you feel the inkling, if you feel like you potentially want to have interest in this at all, just do it. Don't even second guess it. Don't even second guess it. I swear, like, if you think that genuinely in your heart, right? If you are like, I'm just kind of interested, I want to know who Krishna is, or I want to know about this spirituality stuff, or just astrology, you know what I mean? Any of these things, it's like, there's no reason to be scared of them at all. The only reason why you would be scared of them in any way is because you don't understand. And I mean, the Jewish people didn't understand Jesus, and they crucified him, right? Or at least they just didn't think he was who he said he was. Something along those lines. It's been a long time since I've been versed in Abrahamic religions, but I am not knowledgeable of them either. So anyway, that's the story. And so I'm sharing this story because I don't want you guys to feel like I am Joe Schmo on YouTube that has no spiritual knowledge or experience, that, you know, just has popped up and said, I'm gonna just start giving you all this information as if I haven't. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's irresponsible. So I hope this was good. I hope everything was clear and understandable. I am getting a microphone too. I'm going to get that soon. I know a lot of people have said it, so I'm going to get the microphone. But this video, I felt really, it was on my heart to make this one. I felt like I needed to make this one. I think maybe this answers some questions for a lot of people, and maybe gives people more questions. And I hope there are more questions, because I want to answer the questions. The entire reason that I'm doing this YouTube channel at all is to be of service, to just take what I've taken in and digest it a little bit, and then give it back to you in even more digested form, which I don't even know if it's possible. Like, Srimad Bhagavatam is like juice that you can drink at this point, but I think relatability is important. And I think in the Black community and in the Christian community, Abrahamic religions in general, that maybe are seeing Hare Krishnas or Hindus, or which those two terms, like you could say Hare Krishnas, but Hindus, like that's a, I don't know, that term just seems so congested. So if anyone is practicing Hinduism, you should understand that first, yes, there are many gods. You might see polytheism, but it is actually true monotheism. And I say true monotheism because the Abrahamic religions would have you believe that that is a monotheism, but I disagree. They have different books, they have different beliefs. Those are different gods. That's polytheism. A Muslim and a Christian cannot do the same practices if they are properly practicing their religions, or they go to hell. That's just the reality. So is it monotheism or is that polytheism? It's just simple logic. And I don't think people like thinking about it. I don't think people like approaching it. And I think people would prefer these ideas to just remain uncontested. And I'm not a person that can do that, especially not with ideas. And I don't know if I even like it about myself, but it's just who I am. And so I'm going to try and go about it as best I can. So anyway, if you are still here, if you're still watching this video as I ramble on, thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. And please, please, please ask questions. Give me something to actually talk to you about.